What we do here is go back, 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 back.
What's good, great people? Welcome to Voistress, where I boisterously voice my concerns about the issues of the day. So I have recently joined this challenge, posting 3 times a day for 90 days straight. And so as I was thinking through this, I'm like, okay, I wanted to increase my engagement, right? And so being inspired by this challenge that this young lady on her post, on her TikTok had threw out there, I said, let me go ahead and take on this challenge because I have so many different platforms. It's been in my plans to put the content that I'm passionate about out there. And so this is the perfect opportunity. And so to achieve my 3 posts a day for 90 days straight, I'm going to post to the different platforms. It might be all three posts could be for one platform, but between all of the platforms that I have, I'm going to hit my 3 days for 90 days, 3 posts every day for 90 days straight. So anyway, so in this post, in this session, I was listening to the In My Opinion podcast with Michelle Obama and her brother. And she had in this episode Tracee Ellis Ross on for a guest. And this was excellent, excellent dialogue, if I've ever heard one, about relationship. Um, there was a man, I don't know what color, nationality, or what have you, um, he was, but he had submitted an inquiry who regarding some of the issues he is having with relationships, right? Um, and I recall the man being in his 40s, and he was wanting some advice on whether or not he should continue to date, considering a lot of the issues that he was experiencing, or do what his friends recommended, which was, step back from dating, focus on yourself, and establish, the relationship that you need with yourself, um, to be whole, I guess, is what it sounds like, before you get back into, the dating scene. That way you're more likely to find who you want, is, I guess, is the advice that his friends was giving. And so he wanted, to get their opinion on whether that is the approach he should take. And I love how um, Ronan's inquiry just opened up like the floodgates of so many different dynamics of relationship and love in their conversation. Um, what I really loved about this episode is that when we look at the state of Black love, all over social media, Black women and Black men are blaming each other for a myriad of dysfunction, right? Um, and at the end of the day, for me, I've always understood it to be both of our issues. We can't point fingers at the Black man without having 3 fingers pointed back at us. That's just the truth of the matter. Like, our issues are because of not being on the same page, right? In terms of ideals about love, ideals about relationships. I think there's so much that we've gotten away from. I feel it's essential to really know yourself. In this episode, I loved listening to Tracee because it's about what really feels right to you. This is why know thyself is essential. When you really know who you are, when you really know how you're wired, then that is your gauge for what you will accept and what you will not accept. That is your gauge or your standard for identifying the person that is right for you, you know. And so I think a lot of people today are getting into these relationships and they don't really know who they are. They have not taken the time to find out, who am I? What do I want out of life? And this is a constant thing that I think Michelle had stated several times, right? Like, outside of the superficial stuff, what is it that matters to you in life for real, for real? And when you come to understand those things, I think it helps you know, relationships of any kind, partnership, you know, a relationship, intimate relationship, business relationship, any kind, family relationship. It helps relationships function a whole lot better because you have a standard, you know, and you have a standard for which you will operate by. And anyone that is within your circumference that is not in alignment with who you are and how you show up, you know that you have to separate or remove yourself from that person, or how to deal with them, whatever your solution may be. But the first thing is you have to know thyself. We've gotten so far from that. So when we really, both black men and black women, take that particular first step, I think that is probably um more than halfway, or at least almost halfway, through the problem that we have, that we've seen surface in modern times. um, the other thing is knowing yourself. um, Michelle had mentioned several times picking better. Now, I always see fingers pointed at black women when it comes to relationships about pick better, pick better, pick better. But as Michelle was expressing, yes, in her picking, Barack, she had previous relationships that didn't make her feel good. We got to, and she didn't spend a whole lot of time in that, right? And so that's one of the things, when you know something is not working. Yeah, people can put on their best face. I've been through it where you meet somebody, they don't put on their best face, and you know, like, okay, you think this person is who they are, but there's always signs. I don't care how much of a con artist you are, I don't care how much of a swindler or whatever, there's always some kind of sign that shows up in different ways, in a consistent way. A lot of times people turn a blind eye to that, whether it's a woman or a man. You know, we both sometimes turn blind eyes to the things that we see and try to tell ourselves it's something other than what we actually see. So, you know, yes, picking better, but you also have to have something to pick from. So I say that to say that the men also have to work on themselves. You can't have a bunch of liars and a bunch of cheaters and a bunch of game players and a bunch of time wasters, um, and not have the opposite of that. Like, it seems like the norm really is the cesspool. Um, there used to be a time where, you know, men were just straight up stand up men. They believed in handling business. They believed in supporting family. They believed in, you know, just being solid. So, with that point, I do believe it's important to get to know each other. That is another problem. There's so many people who are jumping into relationships without getting to really know someone, jumping into bed without really getting to know someone, and then you're heartbroken. I don't think I've ever seen a time such as this where more value is put on material things than your own body. Like, that's just crazy, right? So really taking the time to get to know somebody is essential. We really got to get back to that state of mind. For those who want to date, right? For those who want to be in a relationship, for those who are tired of experiencing the bad. Now, you really can get to know somebody, but people do not necessarily. So you can really get to know somebody, and what they showed you could be authentic, and you didn't get the red flags. Um, but people do also, we also change, right? The likelihood of someone just becoming this outright vicious person who wasn't vicious when you got together is probably slim, but it can happen, right? Or perhaps somebody who was a sweetheart that you got with was really interested in you, and that has changed or shifted as they gotten to know you. um, but I do think we need to slow down for those who want to establish a relationship and get to know the person, get to know the person. Um, you know, I I want to say, even family, but I know for me, like, I don't want to bring somebody around my family that I'm getting to know, um, until enough time has gone by where I feel comfortable with that, and vice versa. But you got to do everything that you can to vet a person, to really find out if who they are presenting to you is really who they are. And if you make a mistake, as soon as things come up that don't work for you, cut it in the butt right away, nip it in the bud right away, versus trying to convince yourself that you can change somebody. Because for women, women do that a lot. Feel we can change somebody. Um, so Tracee was saying how, for her, that she chooses to date younger because a lot of the older men, for the most part, are set in their ways. I think a lot of older people in general are set in their ways. But again, it's about having those conversations and people being real and being honest and saying, this is who I am. Here's my deal breakers, or here's my state of mind, or here's my world purview, right? Here's my world view, of life and love and relationships. Does this work with you? If not, let's keep it moving. Or perhaps we're better off just as friends. That's okay as well. Um, but we're not having enough conversations. We're not being real. When we make mistakes, we don't give ourselves grace. We don't get out of the situation quick enough, you know? So, as a community, we got to start really taking stock of ourselves and wanting better. We got to stop blaming each other for the state of Black love today. And there's a lot of great examples, but I do know for the most part, especially if you look at social media, there's a lot of blame gaming going on. The world would have you believe that Black men don't love Black women. That's not true. There's enough statistics out there for you to look up and see. I know in my world, the vast majority of Black men in my family and that I'm around love Black women and are with Black women, married to, dating, in relationship, the whole nine, right? So I think that we both, again, on both sides, Black men and Black women, really need to take stock of ourselves and look at where we're coming up short internally for ourselves, address that so that you can come to the table whole, that you can come to a relationship whole. I think that you should take a listen. And yeah, once you do, drop your comments and tell me what you think about that episode. Tell me what you think we need to do to repair the state of Black love, to become um, in unity with one another again, to have each other's back. You know what I'm saying? To get back to that place where we valued our communities, we valued our families, Black men and Black women were in it together, right? And and do everything that we can to get back on that path. So really work on not blaming one another, but fixing our issues. Communication is key. And then once you've communicated, identified what the issues are, being willing to work on that, being willing to be real, deal with reality, see where you play a part in making things a challenge, and self-correcting, right? Correcting that and figuring out ways to move forward together. We don't always have to agree on everything. I don't care if that's relationship, I don't care if that's community. We don't always have to agree, but if we can agree to disagree, that makes things so much smoother. So I'm excited to be back out here, right? Um, and yeah, like I said, leave me some comments to let me know what you think. What is your view on the state of Black love, and what do we need to do to improve it and move forward and elevate together as a unit? Until next time, peace.